you know what I think down on the border? Let's spend our money right. And God bless the Border Patrol, too. They put their lives on the line every day. But we need to give them a mission that they can actually accomplish, not a catch and return. Takes too long to go further into the rest of this. I think we need to shut the jobs magnet off on the inside of our border. We need to direct all traffic on our border through the ports of entry. We need to understand that 90% of the illegal drugs in America come from or through Mexico. And we need to understand that there's $60 billion that are wired out of the United States that go to points south. Half of that goes into Mexico, half into the Caribbean or into Central or South America. Some think that that's just hard-working labor money that gets sent to family members. I think that some of it is. But I think a lot of it's laundered drug money that goes. And now I'd have a better answer for you if the Drug Enforcement Agency or anyone else in federal law enforcement could tell me how much money is spent on illegal drugs in America in a year, or a day for that matter. They don't know. And they will not answer the question. And if you can't get a handle on the size of the problem, I don't know how you think you can ever solve it. We are not looking at our goals. We're not laying out these parameters. We need cooler heads in place making these decisions. And especially, we need you to continue to step up like you are. We need more constitutional conservatives active in politics in America. We're identifying new leaders that emerge because they're engaged in this process. And as we move forward, we will find out that this movement will grow, the 912 Project movement will grow, and the constitutional conservatives will grow, and we will stand, and maybe it is 10 to 12 at night, and maybe this is the last bite for America. I don't know. But I know this. I'll be judged by the effort I make to save this country with the gifts I've been given. So will all of us. And I'm going to try to take a couple of questions, but I just want to say this has been a great, great trip to Colorado. And I couldn't think of a better way to have spent my day. And I just appreciate you all so very, very much. God bless you and thank you.
For coming here. Pat Buchanan has suggested that we suspend all immigration until the unemployment rate in America is down to 6%. What do you think of that?
That's probably a real good idea. And I don't know if I would go to taking it down to 0, but I can tell you that we bring in legally 1.5 million people every year. We're the most generous nation in the world with legal immigration. And if you look at the growth in our workforce for over the last 10 years, it's gone from 142 million in our workforce to about 153 million. All of that can be attributed to legal immigration if you don't attribute, and that's the legal workforce that we know. And so when we have 15.4 million unemployed, another 5.6 million that are looking for work, another 20 or so million unemployed, and by the way, those who are, they say there's work out there that Americans won't do. I haven't found it yet. So I ask, what is the toughest, most difficult, most dangerous job that we ever ask anybody to do? Well, I'll say that it's likely rooting those Al-Qaeda and terrorists out of places like Fallujah. Now, there's some people in this crowd that know this answer, but I ask the question, what do we pay a United States Marine to do that? And if you just figured him at 40 hours a week instead of about 70 or 90 or 100, it works out to about $8.09 an hour. If we have patriots that will do that, I don't want to hear anybody tell me there's work Americans won't do. You just have to offer them a price that's worth doing. Thank you. Yes?
I keep reading that Obama keeps bringing small quantities of Muslims into this country. Why can't Congress stop that?
You know, I don't know what the basis is of that. I wouldn't be surprised that that is the real factual basis. I know that the immigration that we have going on, there are a number of different ways that people come into the country. Family reunification is one of them. And we calculated if one person uses family reunification, they could bring in 357 people, and then we ran out of room on the spreadsheet. There was a case in Germany where they took 150 Turkish men that came in to do work that Germans wouldn't do, 1970. And by the year 2000, there were 2,850 of them there. Not one had assimilated into the broader society. One young German girl had married into the enclave. That's kind of what's going on in this country. I think it's a legitimate parallel. Also, we have religious workers' visas. And we have found that in some of the cases where we have Islamic religious workers, in some of those cases from specific countries, everyone was fraudulent. And we've turned up the pressure on that. I'm looking at it. I don't know how much I can do with this White House. We get run over by a truck every day. I appreciate you making the point. I will try to watch it. Thank you. Yes?
What's this president's position on amnesty, and will he push for it before the next election?
Well, I think it's pretty clear this president supports amnesty, and I should define it. It's important that we do that and that we define it. To grant amnesty is to pardon immigration lawbreakers and reward them with the objective of their crime. That's amnesty. The president clearly supports it, although he wouldn't define it that way. And I'm not as worried about what they might do to bring a comprehensive amnesty bill between now and November as I am what they might do in a lame duck session after the election, when a lot of them are going to be sent home. They'll be told, you need to do this for the future majority. This is political reasons that supports their idea to grant amnesty. And by the way, Ronald Reagan was at least honest enough to tell us in '86 that he signed an amnesty bill, and they will try to redefine it. And we have had 6 other smaller amnesty bills since then. If it ever happens again, we will never be able to say this is the last amnesty. It'll just be the most recent. And I'll stand and fight it. Thank you. Sir.
Yes, thank you for coming. And since America has become so great at outsourcing our jobs, I have another job we can outsource, and that's foreign criminal illegal aliens in our country. We build a prison in Guatemala where it costs us only 25% of what we're dishing out now.
You know, I like your idea, and I've toyed around with this a little bit. If we, I might, Guatemala I didn't think about, but I thought about Mexico. Why wouldn't we outsource that and send them down there and then just contract with Mexico to take care of the people, and when they're done with their penalty, we don't have to worry about deportation. We would just open the gates and they could be released. Sir.
Yeah, if we have it in Guatemala, Mexico won't let them back into their own country.
We have all the answers here today. And I don't even want to try to sort that one. I know that time is run short here, so I want to conclude with this. I have said on one occasion that there's a circumstance by which I would support an amnesty plan, and that is this. If for every time we give amnesty to an illegal immigrant, we would just deport a liberal. I would make that trade all day long. Thank you very much. Bless you.
That was great. Maybe at the very end he gave the media what they were looking for. Before we wrap up on closing up, I do want to acknowledge, and I did not realize this sooner, was that Dale H. Bean, he's an independent candidate running for sheriff.